folks. How's everyone doing? Yeah. I'm very pleased to hear it. Could you welcome to the stage Matt? Give him a huge round of applause, please.
So I've been coming to Ballroom on and off for, I don't know, honestly over a decade, with a few gaps, notably. And I always try, when I come, to bring a crowd pleaser, as best as I can. And tonight is the night where I finally ran out. Just want to hear another one. So I thought I'd do something a little more personal, a little bit darker perhaps. And this poem is inspired by, I watched an episode of the Louis Theroux program called Dark States, where he explored the seedier side of America, as he often does. And he'd spent a couple of days with a sex worker.
That's the only side there is in America.
Right. He spent a couple of days with a sex worker. Her name was Nikki, and he asked her what had been said to her. It was exploring the sort of coercive and abusive relationship between her and her pimp, and which was sometimes violent and very codependent and so forth. And he said what had he asked her to entice her into this lifestyle? And she came back with this line: "Trouble doesn't have a sales pitch." And I, as a poet, I'm often listening out for things like that. It just sounded quite astounding to me. And then it turned out later on, it wasn't just poetic license, but her pimp's name was actually Trouble. And under my sister's advice, so blame her, I'm going to attempt to read this in an American accent. This could seriously tank. Trouble doesn't have a sales pitch. Trouble did not come looking for me, but once he found me, he would not let go. His arms enfolded to surround me. He opened the door to the motel room. He simply opened the door, and down we go. He came with protection and with the arm to beat the trick, the threat, and me. I could not have no weak-ass man. Though he would not beat me, he would not beat my enemy. He came with the promise, he came with the lies, he came with the back of his hand, and without compromise. He came with the silver lining, he came with pretense, he came with the repercussions, and he came with the consequence. He put the world on hold. He held the concerns it voices. He held my money for me. He held all my choices. When you asked me what he said to entice me to become his bitch, you thought I was being poetic when I said, trouble doesn't have a sales pitch, but trouble was his name. His name was literally Trouble. Technological problem here, just getting the poem up. And this next one, I did say last time I was here that I'm a churchgoer, also a poet. So with that combination of things, you won't be surprised to find that I have an interest in the best-selling poet of all time. That's King David. Still 200 million copies every year of his poems. Don't think any poets outsold him. And this was written during lockdown. Now, people speculate that David was a person who suffered from depression, and the term dark night of the soul was coined for him. And he used to have a technique, a poetic technique, in which in his prayers he would talk to himself and give himself a pep talk. And this was sort of, I don't think I suffer from depression, but anyone who's lived with me might tell you I'm quite depressing. I definitely have that element to me, a melancholic element. And during lockdown I live alone, so there was a lot of time on my own to think about these things. And this is a poem, so you might know his sort of more popular works like Psalm 23, The Lord is my shepherd. You've probably heard that maybe, if you went to school or something. I like his edgier stuff. So go for something less published, like Psalm 42 maybe. This is called Cast Down. Laid low, lost my glow. Nowhere to turn, nowhere to go. In free fall, in tailspin, nothing to grab, to stop or slow me from falling in. From the toast of the town, I'm cast down to class clown. Lost my crown, but I'm found my frown. Can't do a verb slowly, a doing word became a noun. A non-swimming swimmer quickly drowns. The whirlpool sucked me in. Murky waters, but lucid wallowing. Despair licked lips start swallowing. I peeled, hope's gore is gored and hollowing. Where is the voice I could be following? The waters have washed over me like the breakers of the sea. Your waters fall down incline so steep from heights of flight to the deepest deep. You call to me to wake from sleep. The nighttime dawn songs sound morning sweet. And as my breath is squeezed away, I hear my voice begin to say, why so downcast, soul, today?